Alright, so today I want to talk about, going to go over loops. We're going to go just over 2 loops. There's actually 3 loops in Java, but I'm going to go over the while loop and the do while loop. The do while loop is just a variation of the while loop. So what loops are in general is they control the flow of the program, and they do this by repeating blocks of code. Specifically, while loops will repeat while a condition is met, or as long as a condition is met, it will repeat a block of code forever. A do while loop will first execute the code once, and then it will check if the condition is met, and then while that condition is met, or while it is true, then it will repeat the code block forever. So the difference is this one will repeat once. The while loop might not ever execute. Now I've made a program here, and let me turn this down. And this program uses a while loop, and I'm just going to go over it so you know what's going on. Here you have, we're doing like an authentication, like when you log into something, it checks your name and password. Well, if it's wrong, you'll have to repeat until you get it right. Basically, that's what it is. So here we have created our scanner to help us take in input from the keyboard, and then this right here, boolean repeat loop dot equals true, is what will determine if the loop will repeat. So here's my while loop, and the way that it works is you type in the keyword while, you type in the condition that has to be true, and so while this is true, the loop will repeat itself, and as we can see, it's true. So it'll repeat until I change this variable here, this boolean variable, to false. Now what will repeat will be the block that you have created underneath the while loop. So this whole entire block will repeat as long as repeat loop equals to true. The first thing that we're going to do is we're going to ask the user for the username, and then we're going to save that into a variable called username. Then we're going to ask him for the password, and we're going to save that into a variable called password. Finally, we're going to check if the username equals to Will, and if the password equals to Will, then we will print out correct, and we will end the loop. And how will we end the loop? By making repeat loop false. So when the loop comes back again, it'll check here if it's true, and as you can see, it'll be false, so then it'll skip this block and go down to here. Okay? Otherwise, if it's false, if we type in the wrong username and password, then we'll have to repeat everything, because this will not be set to false, it'll be true. So then when it goes back up again, it'll keep repeating, and then I'll send the message here that you have the wrong password. Okay? Let's go ahead and just run it. And I'm using the command line today because I have a Linux and I don't have a Eclipse installed in it. So, okay. So username, okay. What's my username? Is Will. Password. Well, the right password is 123. Let's put the wrong password. 4. It says wrong username. Try again. And then as you can see, we went to the very top again. Why? Because it'll check here Will, that's correct. It'll check a password, that's incorrect. So then it'll skip this right here, and it'll go right here, print, and it'll repeat again. Okay? Now let's do it again. Bob. Let's type the correct password. Wrong, right? Because it has to be both. Have to be correct, the username and password. Okay, let's go ahead and type the correct one. Will. Correct password. And as you can see, correct, and it ended. So it ended the loop, which ended the program. And so that's pretty much how while loops work. They check the condition first. So if this had been set to false, then this, from the beginning, this loop will not execute at all. Okay. Now we're gonna go over the do while loops. I'm gonna have to just modify the code real quick. So the do while loop has the do at the beginning, do, and then you put what you want to do, which is this whole entire block right here, and then the while goes last. And that's pretty much how a do while loop works. So it'll execute everything first without checking if this is true or false. And then after it does it once, then it'll check right here if the repeat loop is true or false. So you need to combine both the do with the while to have a do while. Let me go ahead and recompile it here. Okay. Alright, so now let's go ahead and type in the wrong name. Bob 123. We already know that's wrong, right? And then we do Will 123. So it seems very similar, right? Well, what if we had set this to false from the start? Let's go ahead and recompile. Java for loop, or Java. Okay. It's not doing it correctly. Oh yes, it is doing it correctly. That's right, because this is a do while. So as you can see, even though this is false, it still executes this at least once. So let's say we type in the wrong password. No matter what, it should end because this is false. Or oops, that's the different one. I'm sorry. Let's try it again. Okay. So we executed. As you can see, this is false. It still executes the do because it still has not checked if it's true or false. It'll just execute once. So we do will, we do 1 2 3, and it says it's correct, right? But as you can see, this executed even though it was false. And then we can actually, if we back out, we can go back to the while loop and set this to false. So we're just gonna go back to the while loop and set this to false. See if it executes at least once. Sorry. We have to compile it again every time. Okay. What's going on? Oh yeah, that's right. So it's not doing anything because we set this to false. So it'll check right here right before anything, and it won't repeat anything. Now when you do loops, you do have to make sure you have a condition to end the loop. So my condition is right here. If you don't have a condition, then you have a endless loop, and that's your program will crash because of that. It just keeps repeating itself. So as you can see, nothing happened because this checks right away if it's false. Now that's the difference between the loop and the do while loop.